What was happening to your voice when you were trying to sing?
It's like somebody's strangling you. It's like somebody's pushing your larynx this way.
Celine Dion, whose voice has affected generations, has always made people happy around the world with her skill and grace. But what lies beneath the shine and standing ovations that she has kept hidden for over 10 years? We're going to reveal the layers of her untold story today. It's a story of sadness, strength, and shocking revelations. Get ready to see a side of Celine you never thought possible as we go further down her road, from humble beginnings to global fame. Celine Dion's story began in a small town called Charlemagne in Canada. She was the youngest of 14 children in a musical family. As a child, imagine living in a house where everyone sings or plays an instrument. Celine lived like this when she was young. Because they loved music, her parents made sure their kids had a lot of opportunities to play. Soon after, Celine showed off her one-of-a-kind singing, which was unlike anything anyone had ever heard. Celine sang her first song in public when she was only 5 years old. Imagine singing in front of a crowd when you were that age. She wasn't nervous at all and had a good time. By the time she was 12, her family thought she was good at something, so her mother helped her write and record a song. A well-known music manager named René Angelil got the tape and liked her so much that he took out a mortgage on his house to help her start her career. That shows how much he believes in her skills. She sang at an event in Japan when she was only 14 years old. That was her first big moment. People from all over the world agreed that she was a star after hearing her singing. Soon, she stopped singing only French and started singing English as well. That's when things really got going. She became one of the most famous singers in the world with hits like The Power of Love and Because You Loved Me. Still, Celine was famous for more than just her voice. She became a symbol of hard work, style, and kindness. She dressed very well, always smiled, and looked like she was beautiful. The whole world loved her, not just for her singing, but also for who they thought she was. Everyone thought her life was like a story. This perfect picture did cause some problems, though. A lot of people thought she would always be beautiful, happy, and strong. Behind the scenes, things were not always smooth. She had problems, heartbreaks, and struggles just like everyone else. The world did not see that, though. That's all they saw of Celine, so her brand began to show that. No one knew that this perfect picture would later lead to a lot of false information and lies about her life. When things didn't look like the fairy tale they were picturing, people started making up stories about her, forgetting that she was real. The world made up its own story about her, but Celine kept quiet and focused on her family and music. Even though it was magical, this time in her life, which became a tale around the world, also got her ready for the hard times that were to come. People felt like Celine Dion could touch their hearts with every note she sang. This was just as important to her rise to fame as her singing. Legends do, however, face problems. For Celine, those problems were just beginning. What fueled 14 years of rumors around Celine Dion's life? And how did the world misinterpret her silence? The beginning of the rumors. Celine Dion had changed into one of the most loved singers in the world. A lot of people loved her smile, songs, and kind heart. There were, however, murmurs as her profile grew. Some people began whispering false things about her, and those words turned into rumors that went on for years. It all began about 14 years ago. There was no stopping Celine for many years. Her voice was one of the strongest in the world. No matter how talented someone is, they can get tired. Imagine singing for hours every night for months on end. That would be hard work. She quit acting so she could spend time with her family and enjoy herself. People started to wonder why Celine was pulling away from the spotlight. Why is Celine not performing anymore? Is there something wrong with her? Instead of waiting for her to answer, some people started writing their own stories. They said she complained of being sick. They said her voice was gone. It was said that she was also leaving. Even though none of it was true, the stories spread like flames. One of the big things that made people think these things was that her husband René Angelil was sick. René was not only her husband but also in charge of her work and the one who saw her potential. They had all the qualities of a dream team. But Renee got really sick, so Celine took some time off to take care of him. She really wanted to be with him and loved him a lot. Still, the media missed the story of love. The only thing they could see was a famous singer walking off the stage. Instead of finding out what she was really up to, they started spreading more stories. They said that Celine's career was over. Something is being kept from her. Some people even said her marriage was in danger, which was pretty close to the truth. The next thing we talked about was her health. When Celine started losing weight, people started making up crazy stories instead of thinking that it might be because she was stressed or had a busy schedule. Reports said she was sick, and some said she was having big health problems. Every time a new picture of her came out, people would look at it very carefully and start new stories. There were whispers about more than just her health. Some people thought she was quietly leaving the music business, which was related to her job. Some people asked her about her ties. Even though Celine didn't say anything, they made up a story about her life that many people thought was true. Even though Celine was going through a lot, she chose not to fight. She believed that what she did would speak louder than what she said. She worked hard to stay strong and loved her family very much. The stories kept going, though. They changed and evolved over time like a snowball moving down a hill. The news kept these stories going for a long time. Newspapers, websites, and magazines were always looking for catchy headlines to get people to read them. They would write something like, "Celine's mysterious disappearance." Another question is, what's really going on with Celine Dion? Even though these stories were often based on rumors and guesses, people couldn't help but click and read them. The people who followed Celine were also confused. There was a lack of trust between them, even though they wanted to know the truth and loved her. Some people were mad at the media for spreading lies, while others were worried about her health. The more Celine didn't say anything, the more stories spread. But Celine didn't just leave to make things clear, right? The truth is that sometimes keeping quiet is easier than fighting every lie. If she says something about one thing, people might think everything else is true. It's like yelling a lot and still not being heard in a room full of loud people. Celine knew the truth about her life, and so did her family and close friends. She didn't feel like she had to prove anything to anyone, but that didn't stop the reports from making her feel bad. She had to deal with the weight of those lies for years while also taking care of her family, her health, and her job. When you think about what happened, you can see how things got out of hand. People like a good story, even if it's not true. And people all over the world start to wonder what happened when someone as famous as Celine Dion disappears. But beneath all the stories and guesses, Celine was just a woman going through life's ups and downs, like everyone else. It seemed like her life was anything but normal. She was raising her kids, taking care of her husband, and trying to find balance. Even though the claims had been going on for 14 years, Celine's truth was always ready to be told. Sometimes letting the truth speak for itself can help calm things down. People around the world paid more attention than ever when Celine finally spoke out. The hidden battles of a music star. Many people praise Celine Dion's powerful singing and captivating stage presence, but her personal life has been rough at times. People who didn't know her well didn't see her go through times of great sadness and strength. Renee Angelil's death in 2016 was a big event in Celine's life. Renee had been her boss, mentor, and friend since she was a teenager, and he had helped her with her job. There was no doubt about their connection, and when he died after a long battle with cancer, it left her life empty. When Celine lost Renee, she had to learn how to live without the person who had been the center of both her personal and work life, having health issues. The changes Celine went through in the years after he died made her problems worse. Muscle cramps and other problems began to get in the way of her work. These problems were especially hard for someone who had spent her whole life playing music on stage. It was hard for her to cancel events, which didn't happen very often in her work. It showed how much her health had affected her life. Since Celine was well known, her problems were always in the news. There were reports about her health because she looked thinner and had to postpone shows. But a lot of what people and the media said about her didn't really apply to her case. These wrong interpretations of events sometimes missed the real problems she was having inside. Besides hurting her body, adjusting to life without Renee was very hard on her emotions. Besides being her loving partner, he was the rock of her career. It was a big change for her to learn how to separate her work and personal life. Even though she was having problems in her own life, she stayed focused on raising her 3 boys. She was determined to keep things stable for them. These problems were made worse by the weight of fame. Every move Celine made was closely watched, from her public appearances to the news about her health. Her personal problems were sometimes the subject of shocking news stories, leaving her little time to think about them in peace. During these hard times, Celine found strength by focusing on what was important to her family and her music. She stopped going out in public as much, but her love for her boys and determination to overcome problems never changed. As she started a new part of her life, she worked non-stop to protect the foundation she and Renee had built. Even though no one else knew about them, Celine's personal problems had a big impact on her path. She is strong because she can keep going even after losing someone close to her, having health problems, and being criticized by other people. Under all the glitz and glamour was a kind woman who was facing big problems with grace and determination. Through these experiences, Celine showed a quiet strength, telling people that even the most famous people have problems. People should respect the brave parts of her story, which include the times she had to deal with hardship and the times she did well. The moment that changed everything. After years of quiet, Celine Dion finally decided it was time to speak out. That was the moment that everything changed. People had been talking about her life, health, and job without her permission for more than 10 years. She had quietly carried the weight of all the stories that the media wouldn't stop telling, which were not at all true. Still, even strong people have a breaking point. It didn't happen all at once. The love and support of the people closest to her shaped her understanding over time. Thanks in large part to her family, friends, and loyal allies, she had the courage to deal with the misunderstandings. It was time for her to tell her story again because they saw how years of quiet and wrong assumptions had hurt her. Her family was what held her together. Her 3 boys, Renee, Charles, Nelson, and Eddie, were always a reminder of what was important. These people told her how strong she was and told her to put her health first. Her late husband, René Angeli, had always been her biggest fan, and even though he was gone, his memory always kept her going. She knew that her dad would have wanted her to be strong and face the problems head-on. Also very important was her group of close friends. Because they had seen her suffer, they gave her a safe place to talk about her fears and concerns. These close friends reminded her of how powerful her voice was, both as a singer and as a person. They told her to take care of her story. Fans were also a source of strength for Celine. They had been by her side for years, always faithful and protecting her from rumors that weren't true. The notes, letters, and real support they sent her made her believe that telling the truth would be met with love and understanding. She thought she owed it to herself and to the person she was silently breaking up with. It wasn't easy to decide to speak up. Celine liked to keep to herself and let her music speak for itself. Things were different this time, though. She could no longer ignore the story that was being made up about her. It took time, careful thought, and a lot of mental strength to get ready to answer the public. She began by putting together the right group of people, those who understood her limits and shared her values. They worked together to come up with a way for her to tell the truth that felt real and inspired. It wasn't just about clearing the record. It was also about getting her personality back and showing the world the real Celine Dion. It was one of the hardest parts to decide how much to reveal. Celine wanted to tell the truth, but she also wanted to protect her family and keep some privacy. It took a lot of thought to decide between transparency and care. Everything, every word, and every choice was carefully thought out. She was so ready it was hard to describe. Celine worked on boosting her confidence as a singer and as a person who was coming back into the spotlight after years of rumors. She took good care of her voice, put her health first, and hung out with upbeat people. This turning point dealt with the past and prepared people for the future at the same time. When the time came, Celine was ready. She chose to speak out as a sign of strength and self-empowerment, not just to deal with the rumors. Everyone should know that she was more than the stories people told about her. She was a woman, an artist, and a mother, and she had handled the challenges of life with grace and strength. Celine's turning point wasn't just a physical event, it was also her telling the truth. It was the beginning of a new part of her life in which she refused to let other people write her story. Not only did her fans admire her bravery, but so did anyone who has ever felt misunderstood or out of place. Discover the emotional truths Celine Dion revealed, leaving fans and the entertainment industry stunned by her candid revelations. Celine Dion speaks out. After 14 years of quiet and rumors, Celine Dion finally spoke out about the life claims that have been made against her for a long time. Her decision to speak out was not only a brave thing for her to do, but it was also a big deal in the entertainment business and among her millions of fans. Everyone had been waiting to hear her side of the story, and when she finally did, it was pretty amazing. Celine spoke straight from the heart, with a lot of feeling. She began by talking about the stories that had been going around for years about her health, career, and personal life, which had been bothering her. For more than 10 years, these stories had given people a false picture of her. It was time to set the record straight. She dealt with one of the most common lies, which was about her health. For years, the news talked about how she looked and said she was sick with a serious illness. Celine did say she was having health problems, but what the rumors said was not even close to the truth. She told them that she had been dealing with a rare neurological illness that was affecting her muscles, which explained why she looked thinner and why her shows were sometimes canceled. Her openness about her illness was both an attempt to show others her road and strength and to dispel rumors that she wasn't well. Another big subject was her job. People wondered why she stopped singing for long periods of time and if she was really giving up music for good. Even though Celine had to step down to take care of her family and health, she made it clear that she still loved music. She told her fans that she would go back on stage when the time was right, assuring them that her love of playing had never changed. The most surprising thing she said was probably how she felt about the rumors about her personal life. A lot of stories in the newspapers were about money troubles, family fights, and secret relationships. Celine slammed these lies back in an angry way, saying that her family had always come first, especially her 3 boys, who made her happy and gave her ideas. Being famous got her a lot of attention, but it also came with a lot of duty. She chose to keep her personal life private instead of adding to the rumors. Without a doubt, her message was emotional. Celine told the truth about how her mental and emotional health had been hurting for years because of the rumors. She said that the stories sometimes hurt a lot, especially when they made fun of her family or called her honest. She did say, though, that these problems had made her stronger and taught her how important it is to accept herself and be strong. Not only did what she said shock her fans, it also shocked people in the entertainment business. A lot of people were shocked by how open she was and how well she handled very private problems. Celine was known for her ease and polish on stage, but this scene showed a weak but determined woman who wanted to take back her story. The facts she gave were very relevant to the people she spoke to. People around the world admired her for being brave enough to speak out and willing to talk about her problems. As more people could connect to her story, messages of support and thanks poured in on social media. Breaking her silence wasn't just a finding, it was a reminder of the people behind the news. Aside from how it affected her fans, Celine's comment made me think about how the media cover big events. Because she was honest, people became more aware of the dangers of guessing and the harm it can do to people who are being watched. She not only cleared the air, but she also set a good example for others in the business by telling the lies straight out. When Celine chose to speak out, It was a turning point in her life. It was a strong, honest, and open message. When she told the truth, everyone saw that behind the fame and glitz, there was a woman who had bravely and with honor dealt with life's problems. When Celine came to the end of her speech, it was very clear that her story was far from over. She thanks her fans for always being there for her and giving her hope for the future. Her words were a powerful reminder of how strong she is and a promise to keep sharing her music and her truth with the world. The world reacts to Celine's bold revelation. People all over the world were filled with feelings when Celine Dion finally told the truth. Fans, the media, and even other celebrities reacted almost right away, with opinions that ranged from full support to critical analysis. People were clearly touched by what she said, and it had a big impact on them. People who supported her were among the first to say something. Over the course of years, they had waited quietly by her side in silence and talk. Many people were glad and thankful that Celine spoke up. On social networking sites, there are lots of messages of love, thanks, and support. Other fans were moved by her honesty and told their own stories of strength. This wasn't just a flash of understanding for them, it was a reminder of why they had always been behind her. As you might expect, the media reacted quickly and harshly. Every part of what she said was broken out in the headlines, from her health problems to the fake news stories that had been the main story for more than 10 years. Some websites praised her bravery and said she handled very private matters with style. While that was going on, others focused on the drama and came up with new ideas about her life. Even though Celine wanted to stop the rumors, it seemed like other media outlets were determined to keep them going. A lot of famous people also spoke out, and many of them used their platforms to praise her strength. Some of her fellow artists, who had been through similar problems, praised her for telling her story again. Some even talked about how Celine's path was similar to their own life that they lived in public. These comments showed not only unity, but also the problems that everyone faces when they are constantly watched. People all over the world also started talking about what she said. For some, her honesty made her even more of a role model for honesty and strength, which made them value her even more. They liked how honest she was, and thought her story was a powerful lesson about being strong. For some, though, the leaks caused trouble. Other people who didn't like her asked why she had waited so long to speak out, and if all the details she gave were necessary. These different points of view showed how hard it is to deal with public opinion. Celine's impact and image changed for sure when she spoke out. For years, she was seen as a legendary musician with an almost perfect life who could not be touched. Being honest showed a more human side with flaws and problems. This shift in how people saw her changed her reputation and turned her from a perfect role model into a strong, important woman. There was also condemnation along with the praise. Some people said she should have talked about the rumors sooner and that her comments were too little, too late. Some of her loyal fans were hurt when others said she was using the event to get attention. Still, Celine didn't seem to care about these criticisms. Her main goal was to show others what her world was like, not to tell them how it should be understood. As the dust cleared, people began to see her story in a different way. Many people's lives changed after she told the truth. It reminded them of the demands of fame and the strength needed to deal with them. It didn't matter how old or young her fans were, their support grew as time went on. For some, the plot served as a reminder to treat famous stories with kindness and see the people behind the news. Things got worse for everyone when Celine chose to speak out. People talked about the ethics of news reporting and the harm that rumors can do to famous people. Many people wanted a more understanding way to cover celebrities, using Celine's story as an example of how important it is to respect privacy. As Celine Dion moves forward, what new projects and personal goals are shaping her life after years of silence? Building a new chapter with strength and vision. After telling the world the truth, Celine Dion started to change her life and career so that she could focus on her hobbies and health. She wasn't just going to start making music again. She was also going to take advantage of new opportunities, get to know herself again, and stay close to her fans. After her findings, Celine went back to her first love, singing. Music has always been an important part of her life. She said she wants to make a new song that will show how she has changed and grown. Fans were excited because they knew the record would have new levels of sincerity and depth. Celine looked into other artistic activities besides singing, such as writing and teaching upcoming musicians. She could start over with these new projects and focus on the things that were most important to her. Celine cared deeply about her own health and well-being. She spent years focusing on her job and public image. After that, she started to take care of herself, spend time with her kids, and enjoy the little things in life. Moving forward wasn't just about getting ahead at work, it was also about making her home life more peaceful and happy. Celine also got closer to the people who followed her. She often sent them words of hope and strength, along with thanks for their unwavering support. She told her fans to face their own problems with courage, which brought them closer to the people who had been with her the whole time. Her path had made her want to be real even more. Celine talked openly about the lessons she had learned, such as how important it is to live for yourself instead of other people, and how important it is to believe in yourself. Celine kept her eyes on the future even when things went wrong in the past. She was excited to talk about upcoming trips, new projects, and personal goals. Her desire to move forward with a new sense of focus and purpose inspired fans all over the world. Celine's story was about living, not just surviving. Her strength and determination became an example because they showed that there is always a way forward, no matter how hard things get. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Be sure to click on the next video popping up on your screen for more exciting updates.